Imagine earning 500,000 shillings every single month without working, just from government bonds. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how Treasury bond bidding process works in Uganda and how one can use bonds to create steady passive monthly income. If you've been curious about government securities and how people actually make money out of them, stay with me till the end. Hey everyone, I'm Becky and welcome back to Beck Brilliant Finance. In my previous video, we talked about Treasury bills and Treasury bonds. So in case you missed previous video, go and watch it first so that we'll be at par, knowing what Treasury bills and Treasury bonds are, how actually they work, what you need to start investing in them. We talked about, maybe a quick recap, we talked about Treasury bills are short-term government securities for 91 days, 182 days, and 364 days. Then we said for Treasury bonds are for long-term government securities from 2 years to 25 years in Uganda. We also said that what you need to start investing in Treasury bills and Treasury bonds, you need a CD account, Central Securities Depository account. And we said you can't go direct to the Bank of Uganda, you go through your commercial bank. And we said in case you don't have a bank account back in Uganda, you have to first get that bank account because you will need it. That's where you're going to start from. And we also talked about advantages of Treasury bills and Treasury bonds. Then also we talked about what you need to start to open a CD account. Since everything starts with opening account, we say that you need your national ID copy or passport copy. Then we need TIN number. In case you don't have a TIN number, you have to go to URA website portal. You check that you can get instant. I think it takes like 2 to 3 minutes. You can get instant TIN number. You go to their portal, URA portal, and you go to e-service and you follow that instruction. So it means now you need a TIN number. After getting number, you have your bank account, you have your passport copy or national ID copy, then a passport photo. There you will be ready. You walk into the bank, you tell them you want to open SD account, then they'll give you a form you will fill and all the procedure. Now imagine, like let's assume that you already have a CD account. So in today's video, I'm going to show you bidding process and how you can use Treasury bonds work for you as passive income. And in case you're outside the country, I also explained all you need. Now let's talk about bidding process. There are two ways you can buy government securities. I said there is primary market and secondary market. For primary market, it happens according to auction calendar on the Bank of Uganda website. Then for the secondary market, it's where we sell or buy bonds through your commercial bank on any of your working day. So now, in bidding process, you have to be having a CD account as I mentioned. So, and we have two investors. We call them non-competitive investors and competitive investors. Competitive investors are also called price makers. Those bidding above 200 million Ugandan shillings. Most of them are like institution or big institution or banks. Then non-competitive investors, where most of us fall, we bid between 100k to 200 million Ugandan shillings, and we call them price takers. So now you get to know this, that we are two investors, non-competitive investors and competitive investors. Competitive investors, they are bidding from 200 million and above. Then non-competitive investors, it is between 100k Ugandan shillings to 200 million Ugandan shillings, where most of us we fall. What else you need to know is Bank of Uganda reserves the right to reject any or all bids. Also, you have to know that the minimum amount to start is 100,000 Ugandan shillings. You can only invest in multiples of 100,000 Ugandan shillings. What I mean is 100, 200K, 300, like that. You can't invest in 70, 80, something like that. It has to be in multiples of 100K. Also, you have to go through your commercial bank. Make sure you have money in your bank account before starting all this process, because they will get money from your bank account to SD account. And sometimes if you want all this process, you have to ask STD account the statement from your bank, so you can know how much was deducted from your bank account to your SD account to invest in your bonds. Something else you have to know, that the auction day usually happens on Wednesday in the morning, then the settlement in the next day, which is Thursday. Let's look at how bidding or auction process actually works in Uganda. How do you get to know all this information? Yes, you have your SD account, you know the bidding process, but actually how do you get information that there is a bond Uganda is selling? What actually happens, at least before every auction, Bank of Uganda issue a press release announcing the auction date, auction amount, issue of date, the coupon rate, and all the terms. All this information is always on Bank of Uganda website, newspapers, and even your commercial bank. As an investor, you fill out form 1, which is bid form. And after filling it, you submit to your commercial bank or any primary dealer approved by Bank of Uganda. In case it is your first time to invest in bonds, you will need guidance to fill the form. So ask your primary dealer or your commercial bank that you're going to go through, where you actually opened your SD account. So where you're going to submit your bid form. Ask them to help you to fill that form for the first time investor. After filling that form, you submit it to your commercial bank or your primary dealer, whoever you're using. If you're using commercial bank, submit it to bank. If you're using primary dealer approved by Bank of Uganda, you submit it still there. When the auction closes, the successful bids are accepted at one single price. And finally, all the results will be published in newspapers, on the Bank of Uganda website, your commercial bank, or the primary dealer. In case your bid is not accepted, you're rejected, it means your money in your bank account is not going to be deducted. That's when you will know that you are rejected, because your money will remain in your bank account. It will not be taken to SD account. Hope now you know all the information from what Treasury bills, Treasury bonds are, and how now you get SCD account. After getting SCD account, how finally you can start bidding process, the whole auction process to start investing. Now, let's talk about taxes and interest payment, what we call coupon. As we've said, Treasury bonds, they pay twice a year, after every 6 months. So that's twice a year. What you have to know, every interest in Treasury bonds is subjected to withdrawing tax. The bond of 10 years, below 10 years, they deduct 20% withdrawing tax. A bond of 10 years and above, it is subjected to 10% withdrawing tax. So now I want to do example with you. Let's assume I have 1.5 million Ugandan shillings and I want to buy a bond of 10 years at 16% interest. It means the bond of 10 years, they are going to deduct on the 10 withdrawing tax on my interest. Get your 1.5 million times 16%. We are doing this together. It means if they were not going to deduct withdrawing tax, I was going to get 240,000 a year. But remember, they pay twice a year, so it means I was going to get 120,000 Ugandan shillings after 6 months. 6 months. But now there is a withdrawing tax of 10%. It means if they remove 100 minus 10%, I remain with 90%. So it means for me, I'm going to take 90% of this interest. So I will get 90% times 240,000 Ugandan shillings. So 90% times 240,000. It means after withdrawing tax, I've remained with 216,000 Ugandan shillings. So get this 216,000 divided by 2. That's 108,000 Ugandan shillings. So it means a bond of 1.5 million at 16%, and I'm buying for 10 years. I'm going to be, after every 6 months, I'm going to be getting 108,000 Ugandan shillings. Hope we get this example. You can play around with how much you're having. You can do it this way. Now here is exciting part, how you can use your bond to create monthly passive income. You first need to know how much do you want every month. If you want 500k Ugandan shillings every month, you have to know it. If you want 100k every month, if 200 like that, 1 million, 2 million, you have to know amount of money you want every month. Depends on your capacity. Now this time round, let's assume you want 500k, because that's what I have promised at the start. 500k Ugandan shillings every month. How much are you going to invest? I'm going to use right now, what is the market right now? Bond market in Uganda right now is between 15.5 to 18%. Right now, the market is high, it is good market. It is time for investors to invest in Treasury bonds. So let's do the bond laddering. You want 500k, you have to have 42 to 45 million Ugandan shillings. And let's assume you want a bond of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, it depends, where they're going to deduct 10% withdrawing tax. So get your 42, don't put it at once. Divide your 42 into 6. It means 42, that's around 7 million Ugandan shillings. So start investing that 7 million every month and do it in consecutive months. So it means if you're going to invest your 42, you divide it by 6, that's 7 million. If you're starting with Jan, start with Jan, you put 7 million in bond. Feb, March, April, May, June. They have to be consecutive months. It means, remember, the bond pays coupon twice a year. The money you paid in Jan, it is coming in July and December. The money you paid in Feb, like that, it comes in August and Jan. So it means that you find that all months, after every 6 months, they are occupied because you started to invest in bonds 6 consecutive months. So it means if you chose that bond of 10 years, in 10 years, you're going to be getting 500k every month. You're going to be getting that coupon every month. That's how you can turn government bonds into consistent, reliable passive income. That's beautiful about government bonds. If you're there and you may be on your job of 9 to 5 job and you want passive income, try government bonds. So now you know how bidding process works and how you can turn your government bond into consistent passive income. If you're outside Uganda, this is the best way you can invest back in your country. Government bonds in Uganda are one of the safest and reliable way of building wealth. If you're outside the country, this is the best for you to invest in government bonds and start earning passive income. If you found this helpful, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Bye-bye. See you next Friday.